I don't think Mbappe works well with a lot of strikers. I don't think Mbappe will work well with a lot of strikers because as much as he's a winger, he's also kind of like a striker. Like, is it, bro? If I start talking about Mbappe now, I can talk about him for like 20 minutes, and I don't want this episode to be too long. Yo, you guys, what is good, man? Welcome back to Real United Talk, where we talk about all matters Real Madrid and Man United. And despite the choice of top today, sorry about that, this is going to be a real talk episode. I know it might seem like, I've been neglecting Real Madrid, and, I think the past like 4-5 episodes have been United Matters episodes. So for that, I apologize. But, since the Club World Cup, all the players are on a holiday, man. Like, everybody's taking a break. They're back to the squad and everything now. Things are, we're getting back into business. But, like, since the Club World Cup, it has been kind of quiet. No transfer rumors, no nothing. So, yeah, there's just been nothing to really talk about. And with United, there's a lot going on. I'm not even going to bring United Matters into Real Madrid Matters right now. I'm just going to keep them separate. But there's so much to talk about with Man United, and which is why I've been on the Man United side more and more. But we just got our first bit of news from the Real Madrid camp in some days, in some weeks, which is that Gonzalo Garcia is going to be taking up the number 9 shirt. But before I get into that, I would just like to kindly ask that if you're watching this video right now and you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. It will mean so much to me. I'm trying to grow this podcast. I'm trying to grow this YouTube channel, and like, your support will mean so much to me. Your support will help so much. So if you could just hit that subscribe button, I really appreciate it. Leave a comment as well if you like the episode, if you like the content so far. Just, if you have any opinion and everything, if you hate what I'm saying, say with your chest, in the comments and everything. But yeah, let's get right into the episode. So yes, Gonzalo Garcia is going to take up the number 9 shirt, and this is big. Like, this is big. Like, this is bigger than, like, people might take it, because, like, yes, it is just a number, but, like, bigger number equals bigger responsibility. Like, he was wearing number 30, now he's go to wear number 9. It just shows the amount of trust that Xabi Alonso has in him, and, like, fairly so. Like, he has proven himself. Like I said, that Club World Cup was, he did himself no wrong in terms of promoting himself to, like, Madrid's first team. He did himself no wrong. He did himself only favors in that Club World Cup. He was so solid every game that he played, maybe except for the game that Mbappe came back. We'll talk about that a bit, but, like, yeah, it was so solid. Like, we're looking for that striker, looking for somebody who can kind of, like, when Mbappe is not playing, or even when Mbappe is playing, kind of like just like come on and just be like an impact, like, and he's more of like a traditional profile. I'm looking for that striker for some time, and like Gonzalo Garcia fits that profile. If anything, like, he even fits the type of profile of striker that Real Madrid typically go for, like, like, yes, traditional number 9, but also, like, fluid football and everything, like, not stuck to one position kind of thing. He fits that description because, like, he can play the left wing, he can play right wing, so he doesn't just stay in one position. So he fits that fluid football. But yes, he can play that number 9 and traditional as well. He can win headers, he can compete, he's strong, all those type of things. Like, I didn't even, like I said, I didn't even know that this guy, like, played like wing in the academy. Like, he do, like, if you only watched him playing for Real Madrid, like, first team, you wouldn't know that this guy could play wing, honestly. Like, you wouldn't know that this guy, like, plays wing, because, like, oh my god, like, he actually looks like a traditional number 9. He's actually crazy. But yeah, like, I think he's a very good player. I think he's a player that can go into a big player for Real Madrid. Xabi Alonso has already kind of, like, shown his trust in him. He said that he's like Raul. Like, he said that, like, he reminds him of Raul. There's no bigger compliment than that for, like, a Real Madrid player, for a Spanish player, saying that he's like he reminds you of Raul. Like, there's no bigger compliment than that, to be honest. Like, the only other compliment is Ronaldo, honestly. Like, there's no bigger comment than that. Raul is a Real Madrid legend, obviously, so there's no bigger compliment than that. And, like, that was just, like, he just did himself all the justice in that Club World Cup, and now he's taking up that bigger number, which equals a bigger role, in my opinion. Because, like, I don't think that Xabi Alonso would have given, because that number would come with pressure. That number would come with, like, it should just come with bigger expectations and everything. I don't think that Xabi Alonso would have given that number, or allowed him to take that number, if he didn't think he was ready, if he didn't think that, like, yes, this is my man, if he just thought that he was going to, like, end up loading him out and everything. Now, does that number, as much as it equal bigger responsibility, does that equal, like, his starting spot in the team? That's what we have to talk about now. And that would now diverge back into this whole Mbappe, Vini, Gonzalo Garcia thing. I don't Vini, Mbappe already is a problem, and I think that anybody they put into the equation is a problem. Like, it's going to be so hard to fit all the players into the equation. Like we already saw against PSG when we tried to put Vini, Mbappe, and Gonzalo Garcia on the same pitch. Like, it just didn't look good. Like, it didn't look sweet. Like, that game was so different from all the other games in the Club World Cup where Vini and Gonzalo Garcia were really leading the line. That game was just so different. It was so much worse. Like, there's just a thing going on with Vini and Mbappe right now. And, I've already stated my opinion about that matter in multiple episodes. Would that partnership ever work? I don't know. Like, honestly, as days go by, it's looking less and less likely that combination will ever work. Like, I don't think that our profiles complement each other. I've said this over and over again. I don't think that profiles complement each other, honestly. Like, I think that Vini has like this type of profile that, like, he likes to create for a striker. Like, if you watch Vini and Benzema, like, you see that he likes to like create for a striker, but the way he does it is like your traditional wide man. Like, that like Vini is a wide winger. Vini is a wide winger. He likes to start from deep and advance with the ball, and then just get to a spot where, like, he can cross the ball in or something like that. Like, it doesn't always have to be like clean when he's doing something like that, but like, he gets the job done. And if I'm talking about, like, remember that assist against Chelsea in the Champions League, the one for Ben, that header, that was one of the like best examples of like a typical Vini assist. That assist was one of the best examples of a typical Vini assist, honestly. And like that's the type of thing that he wants to do, but Vini cannot do that right now with Mbappe. Vini cannot run to the byline and give a cross like that for Mbappe. Mbappe is not heading that ball. Mbappe is going to be waiting at like the edge of the 18-yard box, waiting for a cutback. That's what Mbappe is waiting for, honestly. So like those profiles don't complement. And obviously we all know about Mbappe's drifting out to the left hand side, forcing Vini into the middle, forcing Vini to the right, forcing Vini somewhere that he doesn't want to be. Like, obviously, Vini is not a man that is stuck to one position. Like, he's not a man that, like, stays in that left wing all through the game. But, like, traditionally, that's the type of player that he is. He likes to maintain the width, he likes to receive the ball from deep, and likes to advance with the ball. Last season, you had to see him, like, kind of like push himself forward more so that it would be easier for him and Mbappe to kind of like interchange position. It'd be easier for him to go into that strike position and everything. We had to see that from Vini. But like in general, I don't know if the profiles ever complement each other. I don't know what the solution for that is, because like both of them are kind of like their egos are too big to put on the bench. Like you can't put any of them on the bench. But the thing about it that like, are we going to continue playing something that doesn't work? Like, is that what we're going to do? Are we going to continue doing this thing that we know doesn't work? I know obviously you have to continue trying and trying and trying again. And there will be times when it will look like it's working. I'm not saying that it will never work, but I'm saying that like, don't be deceived if you watch a game and it just looks as if everything is clicking. Do not be deceived, because like even a broken clock is right twice a day. So do not be deceived if you see it working. Like, let's just say like we play like one of the lower tier teams in La Liga, and it works in that game. Like don't get too gassed up, because like the games that you need to really be assessing is when we're playing against Arsenal in the Champions League, when we're playing against Barcelona in El Clasico, when we're playing against Atletico Madrid in the Copa del Rey. Those are the games that you need to assess and be like, okay, like those big challenges. That's when it comes out. That's when you see if something is actually working. That's why that PSG game was just like a big sign that like that shit doesn't work. And it's not even just about like the profiles and everything. Like I think that, and like I cannot blame Mbappe for this fully, because like if you're getting influenced this way, then like it's your fault as well. So I cannot blame Mbappe fully. But I think that Mbappe kind of has like a negative influence on Vini, in terms of like he's like the way, like like we all know type of player that Mbappe is. Like he doesn't do a lot of like running in terms of like trying to press, in terms of defensive work, tracking back and everything. Mbappe doesn't do a lot of that, right? And I think that every time Vini plays next to Mbappe, I think that he also just doesn't. Like I think that him too is just like, if he's not doing it, I'm not doing it kind of thing. Because I've seen Vini can work. I've seen Vini work hard. When Vini was playing alongside Gonzalo Garcia, he was working hard. When Vini was playing alongside Benzema, he dare not work hard. Like that time, Vini was not even, yes, he was becoming like a great player, but like when you're seeing your best player in the team work hard, you guys work hard. Like you cannot see Benzema, who is a veteran in this team, working his ass off, and you're just there standing. It's not possible. It's not possible. So like like I said, I cannot blame Mbappe for it. Like I cannot say, oh, Mbappe work hard, so Vini work hard. Vini has to have enough sense to work hard on his own. But I think that Mbappe does have that negative effect on Vini, where like Vini sees Mbappe not working hard, and like he's like, if this guy's not doing, I'm not doing it, man. Like if that, like I think that that's actually what happens sometimes. Like and that's why like it's so easy for them to like bypass like our press from like the front, and then we have to win the ball in like midfield, which is a whole other topic. But like yeah. So now putting Gonzalo Garcia into the equation, putting anybody into the equation, I already made a video about Isaac and if Isaac could fit in Madrid, and the general answer was no. If you haven't watched that video, you can go and watch it and just see what I had to say. But like the general answer to the question was no. I don't think Isaac could work. I think Isaac could work with either one of them. More likely Vini. I think that Vini and Isaac complement each other better than Mbappe and Isaac. I think that Mbappe, honestly, I don't think Mbappe works well with a lot of strikers. I don't think Mbappe will work well with a lot of strikers because as much as he's a winger, he's also kind of like a striker. Like, is it, bro? If I start talking about Mbappe now, I can talk about him for like 20 minutes, and I don't want this episode to be too long. So I don't think that Mbappe works well with a lot of strikers. And if you don't like watch France when Mbappe is playing. Like the best that Mbappe could do was someone like Giroud, who is willing to like let things flow for his role in France was to be this other guy, kind of like the 11th man, as much as like highest goal scorer from France and everything. Like we all like his role was kind of like to be that 11th man, like we saw during the was it 2018 World Cup or was it 2022? One of them, I think it was 2018, where like I don't think he had a shot on target in the whole competition. Like Mbappe, I don't think Mbappe works well with like a striker that like also dominates. Like if you bring an Isaac, if you put Mbappe and Benzema, I don't think he works that well. Like we saw when it was Mbappe, Cavani, and Neymar, how Neymar was kind of like getting flushed up. But at that time, like Mbappe was even playing right wing, and he hadn't become this like kind of like dictator on the pitch and everything. Like he hadn't become this personality on the pitch yet. So like there was still room for like everybody to like do that thing. But like you could kind of see Cavani kind of like getting phased out. Yes, you could say that it was the general star power. Cavani was getting older and everything, but you could kind of see like Cavani kind of getting phased out a bit. But I don't think that Mbappe works with like a normal number 9. So like I think that Vini and Gonzalo Garcia actually complement each other a lot more. The thing about that is that we're never going to bench Mbappe, and I don't think that we should. Obviously, like I'm not saying that we should, but like we need to do what's better for the team. We need to do what's best for the team, and something might have to give at some point, because I cannot have somebody on my bench, or I cannot be like ignoring potential signings like Isaac just for me to come and watch Madrid and we're getting eliminated from the Champions League out of 16. We're going to be finishing second in La Liga and not even anywhere close to whoever wins La Liga, whether it's Barcelona, whether it's Atletico Madrid, whether it's Bilbao. Like if I watch that, and I'm here trying to defend people because like that's too big to put on the bench, that's too big to be sold. Like how does that make me look? Like how does that make me look? Like I cannot continue to defend them. I cannot continue to say that yes, they have to start. At some point they might not have to start. At some point one of them might have to go. And in my opinion, if we're looking to sign like a proper striker like Isaac, for example, I think that it is Mbappe that has to go. I think that they would end up like selling Vini. I think that if it was between Mbappe and Vini, I think that they'll sell Vini, but I think that it's Mbappe that actually needs to go in that situation. I know this sounds like very harsh and this sounds crazy coming from like a Madrid fan that has wanted Mbappe to come to Madrid for a long time. And then someone like I've gassed Mbappe. Mbappe is like our best player. He's the one of the best players in the world, if not the best. European Golden Boots winner last season. Like what am I talking about, right? But at the end of the day, like you have to do what's best for your club, because like just because someone is the best player in the team doesn't mean that they're doing what's best for the team. That's honestly the God honest truth. Like you can be the best player in the team, but it doesn't mean that like you have the team's best interest at heart. It doesn't mean that like everything that you do is good for the team. Like I think that Mbappe has this thing about like individual glory. Like I think Mbappe has this mentality of like I did my part. My part is like scoring goals, and I did my part kind of thing. I think that's his mentality. I think that like he's like, oh, I bagged 2 goals. How come like they say like the game is like 3-2. He's like, oh, I bagged 2 goals. How did we end up losing? Like the defense should have done that job. I think that that's Mbappe's mentality, not, oh, I could have tracked back more to help the team. I don't think that that's Mbappe's mentality. I think that he's more like doing his own job. I don't think Mbappe is a very like team player kind of person. Like I don't know when he became this, but I think that that's the player that he is. Now you can work with this type of players in your team. You can. But the thing about them, you can't have more than one. Vinny is a team player, in my opinion, but at the same time, like I said, Vinny, Mbappe has this negative influence on Vinny, number one. And number two, both of the egos are just like kind of big. Like I think Vinny has less of an ego in general, but like I think that both of the egos are kind of big to kind of like fit in the same team. And it's just kind of, and then like both of them are just so drawn to one side of the pitch. Like, you had the ego thing with Mane and Salah at Liverpool, right? But two things. Number one, you had Firmino, who was like kind of like the balance, who was kind of like that guy that was allowed to like let play flow in front of him and just do like the dirty work, like just like be this guy that doesn't get any praise whatsoever, and just allow these two to get all the praise, get the Ballon d'Or nominations and all of that, and just allow them to play. And number two, as much as like the egos used to clash, like we saw it time and time again where like the egos clashed. I remember that time where I think Salah didn't pass the ball to Mane and Mane was like complaining, shouting. I remember that time. I remember that play. And the thing about that is that yes, the egos clashed and everything, but at least they did it from separate parts of the pitch. At least Mane was doing his thing on the left, Salah was doing his thing on the right. At least like this one now, you have two egos clashing, you have two big players clashing, and they want to do everything on the same side of the pitch. Like that just is hard to work. Like, like I said, we've seen time and time again egos clashing. But the thing about at the end of the day, the egos are clashing for separate parts of the pitch. There's a middle part dividing them. But now we have two players that want to do it on the same side. So I don't know if that would ever work. And I would honestly like to fit Gonzalo Garcia. I think that Gonzalo Garcia is going to have like a bigger role this year. I think it's going to be more of like an impact sub. Like, you bring him on here and there. Sometimes you bring him on for Vinny or Mbappe. Sometimes you bring him on for like one of the midfielders, and then like you play Vinny, Mbappe and him. If we're like losing the game or we're desperate to score a goal, I think that sometimes like, you come on like the 85th, 80th minute, if we're already winning like 3-0, come on for like one of Vinny or Mbappe to kind of like just close off the game. And then those times you see him get like a goal here and there in like the 85th minute or something like that, you score a few goals. I think that he'll have a bigger role this season. He's going to be a very like, we're going to use him as an impact sub, but like I wonder how long before like, we decide like he's actually the guy to like invest in. Like, is that good? Like, we don't want to stunt his growth too much. He has already shown talent. We don't want to like stunt his growth. We don't want him to like want him to develop properly and in the right environment with the right influence. Like, I don't want him to get that mentality of like, I don't have to press. I don't think he's anywhere close to doing that. I don't think that's the type of player that he is. But like, players change, especially with the type of players that influence them. Players do change. But like, I think that Gonzalo Garcia has a bigger role this season. Do I think that role is in the starting next side? Sadly not, because I don't think that Vinny, Mbappe and Gonzalo Garcia work, especially given that none of them are willing to stay on that right-hand side. And if you put Gonzalo Garcia on the right-hand side, you're really not getting what you signed him for. Not signed, but promoted him for. You're really not getting what you promoted him for the academy for if you play him on the right-hand side. I think that we promoted him as a striker. We gave him number 9 because like we know he's actually like in number 9 proper. And I think that if you put him on that right-hand side, you're just going to see a lot of like, putting him there just to put him there, just to say that like, yes, Gonzalo Garcia is playing. We put him on the pitch. We put him a striker on the pitch, but we had to make room for Mbappe and Vinny kind of thing. Like, we just be putting him there for putting him there sake. So like, I think that his role will be on the bench, and like, he's still very young. He still has time to like prove himself. By the time he's like, well, I think he's 18, 19 now, something like that. By the time he's 23, Mbappe will be 31, something like that, 30, 31. So like, he does have time. He does have time to like, show himself. Like, even if it doesn't work out now, maybe next season goes on loan, comes back, or something like that. Like, something would work at some point if they continue investing in him, they continue like believing in him. But right this season, he's not going to be a starter. That number is big and he's going to have a bigger responsibility. You're going to see him impact sub a lot, all of that, but like, he's not going to be a starter, and that's fine. That's fine. Having an impact sub like him would be a good thing. Having a player that can play the Copa del Rey matches here and there, we have like 3 fixtures in 1 week. We need rotation. Having him, knowing that it is him, is a very good thing. So I think that that's his role. He'll be more of like an impact sub, more of like a rotational player, which is very fair for like an 18, 19-year-old. It is very fair, but he will not be a starter this season. And I don't think that Gonzalo Garcia, Vinny and Mbappe work. Honestly, I don't think that front 3 would work. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Vinny, Mbappe and Gonzalo Garcia can work? What do you guys think Gonzalo Garcia's role will be this season? Let me know in the comments. What do you think that we should do with him? Do you think that Vinny and Mbappe would ever work as a combination? Let me know. But with that comes the end of this episode. Thank you guys again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try and stay consistent, keep on pushing out episodes, and I just hope to see you guys again next time. Safe.